Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. So in today's success story session, we have with us Ms. Srinidhi, who has cleared SEBI Grade A in 2022, in this year only. So let's know more about her strategy. She's from non-commerce background. She has done her engineering and she has completed her BTech in 2018. And this was her second attempt is SEBI. So let's understand that how from the non-commerce background, she came to SEBI and she has cleared the SEBI. So starting with, first of all, congratulations, ma'am, for
Thank you,
clearing
ma'am.
SEBI Grade A.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so starting with can you tell the aspirants a little about your educational background and the job you were doing?
Yes, I have completed my BTech in 2018 from electronics and communication background. And after that, I had joined almost in that year only. I had joined Tata Consultancy Services, and currently I'm working there as a Java full stack developer, as an IT analyst. So I started preparing for SEBI, like I had attempted previous year, but it wasn't. It was my first exam of any other regulatory bodies, as a matter of fact. So that was my first exam in any competitive background. So I couldn't clear SEBI phase 2. So then I attempted NABARD, and same thing happened. I couldn't clear the phase 2, and again I attempted SEBI this year. And this year I prepared I mean, compared to last year, I had prepared a little bit better, and this time I did.
So what I can understand, what there were two hurdles, like you were from non-commerce background and you were giving SEBI. Second is like you were the working aspirant, like you said that you were doing the full-time job in Tata Consultancy, and that
Yes.
must be very like tiresome, I can say, because of course you're doing a job and then preparing also, and you started right after like 2018, after your BTech you started the job, you didn't have the time to prepare also for something else.
Yes.
So how did you handle the pressure, like from coming from the non-commerce background, working also? So like can you tell a little about the for the aspirants?
Initially, it was difficult. The main thing is we have to set a timetable and stick to it. That was the initial challenge. So the main challenge that I faced was being from an IT background. There are no fixed working hours. Like sometimes, some days we used to work for 9 hours. That's okay. Otherwise, some days it used to get extended to 12 hours and all. And since the screen time is lot, so that made us very much tired. So I had an idea that weekend I'm not going to do any work. Weekend I have to devote completely to the studies, like to the preparation. So there we had to make a little bit of sacrifices, like going out in the weekend and partying and all. So that was not there for a long time. So weekend I utilized fully, and otherwise in other days morning I used to study. Like I used to wake up early and I used to study before the work got started.
Okay, so
So and it's very
dedication.
important to draw the boundary.
Yeah, you need a lot of dedication if you want to work as well as prepare. So it's like it's not impossible, we can say, and it's like possible, as we can see her like the live example that is sitting in front of her. That's really possible. Like if she has cleared, so of course, like she was working and then preparing also. So it's not impossible. Just you have the dedication and you have to go on like that. So it was really nice hearing that from you, and all for all the working experience that are working also and that are worried also that they want a government job or job at such a high position. So of course you are a big live example in front of us. So
Thank
starting
you.
with any message for the working experience in the start only, like how did you come to the SEBI? How did you fall on this SEBI organization?
What I initially thought that I was happy with my job. I was doing well, and my team was good. The work was good, but I felt that at the end of the day, my contribution is to be very minimal. Like when you compare it to the number of employees the organization have, and when you look at organizations like SEBI and RBI, like the amount of direct control they have over the economy, the amount of contribution each and every employee has. So that was a very inspiring point for me, that I wanted to do something that has a lot of contribution, a direct contribution, and at the end of the day, satisfaction for me. So
Yeah.
that's why I thought that I should explore these opportunities.
Yeah. So we will be understanding the strategy from you, so that the other working experience that are looking up to you and that are looking towards finding the job in SEBI or even in RBI, that how you managed your work as well as how you managed with the preparation. So we will be starting with the phase one preparation first, that how you started with the phase one. So starting with QRE and GA. So what was your strategy for that?
GA, when I gave the 2020, I wasn't very good at GA. I scored seen single digits in 2020. So I knew that if I start preparing for competitive exams like RBI, NABARD, GA has to be my daily routine. Like I brush every day and I shower every day. GA has to be like that. No matter what exams are coming on, GA has to be a part of my daily life. So that's what when I started doing GA, and it is going on till now. I have never come out of GA. So GA is a daily work. And coming to QRE, I was good at QRE. I knew that I gave a few mock tests first, and I thought that this is fine. I can get through it. I don't need a lot of practice in that, but I have to give mocks, to get into the time frame and practice. So for QRE, what I did is I gave mocks.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be enough for QRE. It depends
Yeah.
upon the weak points. We have to know our
Yeah.
weak points. So once you give a mock, we'll know the weak points which we are weak at. So for me,
And
mocks.
yeah, and it is like the cumulative percentage is there. So you have to focus on your strengths and just clear that. You do not have to focus too much in the paper one. So now coming to the paper two, that is the pain point of every non-commerce student, especially like they are like, we are going to give the commerce, we have to study commerce and accounts, costing, companies law, such like hard subjects that like that are, we can say that is easy for the commerce students to understand, to grab. So were you not afraid that you have to compete with the CA students, with the CS students? And then you are coming like sitting here cleared SEBI.
No, it's like they had to study a few years back and I have to study now. So that was the difference. I had to manage the little bit of gap. So I thought that it's not like SEBI doesn't know that I'm an engineering student or I'm a non-commerce student. So I have to make my preparation to that level that I'm a CA student, because they won't make the paper easier for me because I'm an engineering student. So what I did is I knew that what are the sources of chartered accountants. They prepare from the ICAI materials, right? So I took up those materials and I started preparing. It took a little bit of more time for me, but I made sure that my basics were clear.
Yeah.
So in the 2020 also, I started preparing in that manner only, that I have to, whatever I study, I'll study properly.
Yeah.
So there, where I missed out is I couldn't practice the numericals more, the tougher level of problems. So that gap I managed in this one. I prepared the numericals this time, and for economics and subjects like commerce and accountancy, NCRT is a very good
Yes.
base
Yeah.
to understand the basics. It is like, so if anybody can go through the NCRT ones. I did the same. I went through the NCRT ones for economics, and after that it became easy.
Yes. So that is a very positive attitude that you have, that we can see by the words that you are speaking. Very positive attitude that you have. So that we understood is like you were not afraid. You were like face like you were taking the challenge, and it was like, yeah, I can do it. So I will do it. So that is really good attitude that you have, and the aspirants should have that attitude. They should not be afraid if they have taken this path. So they should be following it dedicatedly. So now coming to the strategy that you followed, the MCQs, did you focus on the MCQs also, or you were just practicing with the PDFs and the material like theory only?
No, first what I did is, before going to any preparation, I first attempted the MCQs to know
Mm.
the level of my current preparation.
Yeah.
Like management, often happens that the things are very general, like the concepts are very general, like autocratic leadership.
Yeah.
The words are very common. So what I did is I attempted a test to see that what I can do, what I'm able to do, and same thing goes for others, just to know the level of my preparation. Because sometimes even in economics also, some terms and all, while reading the newspaper we get used to those terms
Mm.
and all.
True.
So first what I did is I attempted a mock test or an MCQ, a full length MCQ of a subject, and then I went to the preparation.
Yeah.
And then again I came back to the MCQs.
Okay. So what were your sources? Like for the theory part, you said that you took the chartered accountancy notes, and for the MCQs also, like which path did you follow?
I'll break it into all the subjects first. For management, what I did is I relied on Google. That was my
Okay.
primary source. The MCQs, and whenever in MCQs I used to find a concept which is new to me, I used to backtrace that, search in the Google, and read everything what I could get about it and make notes from that. So
Yeah.
that was my source for management. For economics, like I said, I studied the
Yes.
NCRT.
Yeah.
Economics, I studied the NCRT. Then I went on to do the MCQs again. Again, in MCQs, there are few concepts which are very new, like you don't know the concepts, or they are
Yeah.
not mentioned in the NCRT, or little bit of depth, like the graphs and all the, so there, those things I used to search in the YouTube. There are many videos coming in the YouTube, so I used to search in the YouTube, and whatever video I used to get, I used to read those for
Okay.
economics. For commerce and accountancy and for costing, I'll say I'll relied on the ICAI material, CA Foundation and CA Inter. Whatever I could get my hands on the costing materials and all, I used to rely on them, and then I used to come back to the MCQ course. I took the EduTap's MCQ course, and I used to attempt those questions. There are a lot of questions, so
Yeah.
it makes a habit of doing the numericals, and wherever you are stuck, you can go and back trace that.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a really nice strategy. Like what we followed, you have told everything very clearly. And now coming to like the paper one we have cleared, like understood. And now coming to the paper two strategy for each and every subject. Like you said that you were doing the mock test, you were giving the MCQs. But how did you understood the commerce and accounts, or did you read through all the subjects for the phase one, or did you say that only I will read 4 subjects and I will clear the phase one with this much?
No, I read all the subjects for the phase, because I thought the preparation was integrated. It was not
Yeah.
separate for phase two and phase one. So I read all the subjects. I knew that if I whatever I'm able to do in for phase one, I
Mm.
have to take that a notch up for
Yeah.
phase two. I have to practice more numericals and more complicated sums for phase two.
Mm.
But the preparation, I prepared all for all the 4 subjects for phase one. I didn't leave out any, because it's very difficult to rely, because in one subject may come very easy, another it might come very difficult.
Yeah,
So
true.
that is a gamble. So I read all the subjects.
Okay. So starting with management, this time it was quite tricky, like if we compare from the previous times. So how did, like, was there the pressure in the exam in front of you that such a tricky questions have been asked?
No, something that I learned from phase one of this time is that you have to read the question properly, and the keywords are hidden in the question only.
Yeah.
The same thing I faced in the previous SEBI also, that I was very overconfident with the questions. I just read the question once and I attempted the question, and the options were very close. So this time I made sure that I'll read the question very well, and take out the keyword properly, and make up my mind that I have to confidently answer it confidently. So management is all that you have to read the question very well. No matter how much I study for management, at the exam I have to read the question properly, and I have to relate it properly with the options and mark it.
So your concept should be clear, and then you have to read the question very carefully, or the questions can be tricky if you do not read that carefully. Coming to finance, what I heard was that it was easy to moderate. So how did you handle that? Like, do you think that we have to go too much in depth in the finance subject, or do you think the wider aspect is the one that we have to do in finance in the subject?
I think finance, one thing is that whatever the mock test or whatever the MCQs we are attempting for finance, those are very important. Like sometimes what I have understood is that sometimes the questions are getting formed from the options of the
Hmm.
mock test or of the courses
Yeah.
whatever we are going through. Like NBFCs, we have seen many questions on NBFCs in the mocks and anything, and the questions on NBFCs were there for phase one and phase two both.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when we see a term in the mocks or in any MCQ, we have to read the background of it, everything related to it. That is very important. It's not that we'll solve just the question. So if I'm seeing NBFC, I have to read all about it. So that is how you can, I think you can increase the probability of getting common questions in uh, even in exams. And for finance, I would say circulars, RBI circulars and SEBI circulars, whatever the terms and everything are getting
Yeah.
introduced newly, the questions are primarily based on them. So that is
Okay.
enough.
Now coming to the costing, the numericals were there. So how did you handle the numericals in the costing? And how do you think that the level of costing is what?
I think the people has to be, I mean, everybody has to be used to looking at the balance sheet. I mean, what we tend to do is initially in phase 2020, I used to get scared of looking at the balance sheet. Like, oh,
Yeah.
ye kya de diya question paper mein? So that was a sort of, I was not used to it. So
Mm.
this time I made sure that whenever I see a balance sheet, I'll not get scared. I'll start doing the problems.
Yeah.
So I started with NCRT, like accountancy and all. There were many balance sheet based questions in the back of the question books chapters. So I started solving them just to get used to the thing, like what balance sheets, the numerical problems and all. And wherever I used to get my hands on numericals, I used to do them
Okay.
anywhere.
So practice is the key,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we can say. Yeah. Now coming to the, like we have understood about the commerce and now commerce and accountancy. That was the most toughest that I have heard in the phase two, especially. The numericals were of another level. That is what I have understood. So what was your take in the commerce and accountancy?
Commerce and accountancy, ma'am, I relied on the materials of ICAI. So
Yes.
back of the ICAI materials, there are many questions, different kinds of questions and of different levels. So initially, I used to get scared. I used to take a lot of time to solve those questions
Yeah.
initially, because I was not used to them. I used to get scared initially, but I think it's better to be scared during the preparation than in the exam.
Exam. Yeah.
So I used to solve those questions like commerce and accountants, and it's very commerce and accountancy. Again, I'll go to NCRT back, because NCRT very clearly they have given all the basics of
Yeah.
commerce and accountancy for all the chapters, that commerce and accountancy book, accountancy 1 and accountancy 2, I guess.
Yeah.
So if you read the, at least once, if you read the whole chapter, the concepts will become very easy. And after that, you can take the level up through MCQs, but solving MCQs and all. So
Mm.
I'll say that I studied NCRT basic first, and then I went there. That
And
is.
again, when it comes to costing numericals or the commerce and accountancy numericals, you have to practice a lot. That's how
Yes,
you will not be scared in the exam to see all the questions. Very good strategy, I can say. Now coming to the economics, like it was like a turnover, we can say. Like from law of demand, they were coming to the higher level of the questions, like if we see the previous year papers. So now how did you study economics? How in depth did you went into economics, and how did you manage it in the exam hall?
economics actually, I think I faced the thing in phase 1 only. I found that my level of preparation in economics was not up to the mark in the phase 1 itself, that the questions they are asking were of a little bit of different level. It was not whatever it is given in the book, so I have to go in depth. So economics, I think we have to go little bit in depth.
Hmm.
Everything we can't, I mean, we can't judge from the beginning itself that
Yeah.
which subject is going to come tough. So what I faced, I was very down after attempting economics in phase 1, that a few questions, they were very, I didn't read, I didn't come across the questions at all in the preparation. That was scary, that I didn't come across those terms in the preparation. So I searched those terms and I found that I have to go a little bit in depth of economics. So mainly I primarily relied on many YouTube videos for economics, and whatever Investopedia and all, there are many websites wherever you
Yeah.
get materials and all. So I relied on those websites and all. So,
Okay. So now I think the last one is left is of companies law. So coming to the companies law, that is theoretical, a lot to remember. And how did you manage that? Like it's too much theoretical, too much to remember.
company laws, it was a bit of gamble. I couldn't remember everything for company laws. I knew that if anything comes out of whatever I don't know, I will skip on that, because
Yeah.
it was impossible for me to remember all those things. So company laws, there were few important sections which you have to remember. So I noted them down, the important sections, the schedules, the penalties. Those were very important. What I have observed from the previous year and everything, the board of few chapters are very important, like board of directors chapter is very
Yeah.
important. Then the derivatives, the options, this whole concepts, and then the prospectus chapter, that chapter is very important. So a few sections are very important, and I noted them down and I revised it again and again, that anything coming from this I have to
Yeah.
I have to attempt those. And the penalties, I made a trick, like I noted them down. There was a
Yeah.
pattern, you can have a pattern in the penalties.
Hmm.
For different chapters, the penalties are different, and for the first few sections, the penalties are different. So there was a
Yeah.
pattern you can make for yourself, and you can remember those in a pattern way, the penalties and all especially. So
Okay.
that's why. And few things, the more you revise, you'll get to know that buyback options and all.
Yeah.
It's with revision, it'll come with revision.
Okay. So now coming to the revision part in phase one, like before phase one also and before phase two also, how did you revise all the subjects? You were revising one by one, like first complete this subject, then coming to the next subject, or you were revising everything simultaneously?
No, revision every day. I allotted 1 hour for revision at any cost. At no moment, no matter how much I had prepared already,
Hmm.
even if I prepared 10% of the syllabus, then also I'll revise it the next
Hmm.
day. So revision was constant. I never missed out on revision. Uh,
Okay.
1 hour at least I used to spend on revision for sure. And syllabus was completed before phase 1. So
Okay.
phase 2, it was all about revision and practicing different MCQs and different problems.
Okay, understood. So now coming to the phase two, also we have understood that you have done the integrated preparation for the phase one and the phase two. So everything was same. Now coming to the descriptive English. So how much did you practice descriptive English, or you were confident about it and you just left it? Like you said that is easy.
I was confident about descriptive English because last time also my marks were fine, good enough.
Hmm.
So I was not that scared of descriptive English. One thing was that I used to miss a lot on and like I used to miss out the. So I knew my weak points. I used to check on Grammarly, and I knew my weak points. That I sometimes if I iterate it in my mind, but I skip it in while typing. So that's something I had to work on. So I practiced. If I took up just 2 or 3 topics and I started writing them. And that was the only preparation that I did. And I checked out the formats of if any letters and all, like Pressy. And few mistakes that I had attempted last time, I missed out on Pressy heading. So these are the few things that I took care of this time. That's all.
Yeah, if like you have to give the mocks to also know that where you are lacking, and you have to check out, as well as Grammarly is the thing that you have to focus
Yeah.
on, that your grammar is very accurate in English especially. So
Yeah.
now coming to the interview part. Okay, like any message before going to the interview part to the aspirants, that how to prepare the all the subjects combined. Like there are 6 subjects and that are considered very hard for the non-commerce background, especially who are the freshers. Like you were a fresher when you came in 2020. So any message for the aspirants regarding the phase 1, phase 2, the 6 particular subjects?
I think the mocks are very important for all the 6 subjects. The more you practice mocks, the more like, you're confident about. And one more thing that you have to practice in mock is which I lagged in phase 1. That I couldn't traverse through the whole question paper properly. I traversed once, and I was stuck in the lengthy problems at the beginning. So that's something we have to avoid. We often get stuck at the lengthy problems in the beginning during the examination. So that mindset and that practice, I think mocks are very important for that. That you have to spend only little bit of time in watching the questions first before. Like don't spend a lot of time in other questions, because at the end also there are many easy questions, and we often miss out on those questions.
True. So yeah.
So that.
So what we understood from you is a very great strategy, that you have to watch through the whole paper and then see that what questions you easily answer. You can answer in 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and then go to the lengthy process and lengthy questions in the last of the exam, that when you have cleared the easy ones. Yes. So now coming to the interview. So can you tell a little about the panel? How was the panel?
I think the panel was very friendly. Like I didn't find the panel to be scary, to be honest. They were very friendly. And once I got out of the interview, I realized that it was 35 minutes, like when I checked the time. But inside, I couldn't understand that it was 35 minutes. The panel was great.
And
And
what?
I think interview is very, yeah. Please
See?
carry on.
No,
No,
you say
no.
please. So like,
The
please carry on.
yeah, that's what the interview was good. I mean, the panelists were very friendly.
Okay. So did you take any mock interview also, like before going for the final interview?
Yes, I took EduTap's mock interview and another institute's mock interview, I think.
Okay. So how, like, what did you learn from the mock interview from the EduTap? Like, were there
I
some learnings?
Yeah, I took mock interview at a very initial stage of my interview preparation. At the beginning only, I took the mock interview, and the feedback that I received was very helpful. Like the SEBI, I had to go through the SEBI annual report.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that whether they'll ask from the annual report or not, but it's very important that you use few things from the annual report in the interview answers. So that creates a good impression. The SEBI circulars and all, whatever is happening in the SEBI, it's very
Yeah.
important that you use those things in your answers, and that would create a good impression.
True. So now coming to the questions. Were the questions technical? Were the questions from the HR level? What kind of questions did you face?
I think the questions for me was very much specific to my profile, and that's same for everyone. Like
Yeah.
the questions were very customized and very specific to your profile. So initially, first 5 minutes, they pressurized me to come to IT. Because I come from an IT background, so they were very much grilling me that we'll take you, but you have to join the IT department. So it was more focused. First 5 minutes were very much focused on that. They really tried to convince me to come to IT at any cost. So after that, they started asking me that what part of finance, you say you are interested in finance, so what part of finance you like. So I said secondary markets. Then they asked me that how would you use your technical knowledge, your IT knowledge in finance, how would it help SEBI? So then I came to that, okay, we can use artificial intelligence, we can use data analytics, and so and so. That interview went throughout in that manner. And it was very much, for me, it was a little bit of on the technical side only. By technical, I don't mean finance and accountancy. I mean, even if I appeared for general stream, it was more concentrated on IT. There was one panelist who gave me a problem statement that in the TV, you get scrolls of company news. So from that, how can you predict fraud? So I had to give all the algorithms of machine learning and all whatever I'm going to use for that. So it was more that. line.
It was more from the background, as well as you have such a like 3 years, 2 3 years of the work experience
Yes,
in the IT sector. So of course they were very interested. So you have to
yes,
prepare your resume well. You have to know about your stuff, that what you
yes.
are going to speak and what you are working in. So they can see the dedication, I guess, and
And
what
I
you are
think
currently working.
questions can be a little bit predicted. Like I was from the IT background, and I knew that for the past week the IT stocks were going down.
Hmm.
So I knew they will ask me a question on why IT stocks are going down. So they did ask the question on why IT stocks are going down. Then because I was from the IT, they asked me, and I was wearing a sari. So they said that Chitra Ramakrishna also wears a sari. So you tell me about Chitra Ramakrishna. So that's very like it's very customized to you.
Yeah.
You're wearing something on that day, and they'll ask you a question on that. So they asked me about Chitra Ramakrishna. Then they went to co-location scam, algo
Hmm.
trading, and
Yeah.
everything that was linked with that.
Yeah. And algo
So
trading and
yeah.
co-location scam, they were very current at that time. Like
Yes, yes,
in
yes,
one
yes.
month it happened, and so yeah.
Even
So we,
LIC also, my father works in
hmm,
LIC, so they asked me a lot about LIC. So I had prepared because I knew my profile that
yeah.
this is my things and this is my background. I have to prepare these things. So it's very specific to the profile, the interview.
Yeah, that's really nice to know so many things from you. And I think we are at the end of the session. But before going off, I would like to know, and I want that if you can give a message to the aspirants that are not from the commerce background, that are working aspirants, that are very afraid to start the preparation because they are working. So, any message for them?
I think the important part is discipline. Like you have to make a timetable and try to stick to it. It doesn't happen always. Like even I get tired and I skip on the timetable some days. But it's very important because motivation is like very temporary. But if once you're disciplined to the timetable, you will get committed to the timetable that okay, this is the slot and this is the slot I have to study. And during while you're studying, don't think about work. That is very important. Like I used to face that initially. When I
Yeah.
sit for studying, I used to think about next day's project, next day's work. So that is very important to isolate yourself from the study and the work. That is very, very important. So
Yes.
yeah, the discipline is meant like that you have to stick to the timetable. And once you start following the timetable, initially you'll think that nothing is happening, but at the end it gets over. It gets completed. The syllabus and everything gets completed.
Yeah. So thank you very much. We have learned a lot from you, like the clarity in your words, the clarity in your thoughts. I can understand that how you cleared SEBI because you're such a clear person, I can say. Means such clarity of the thoughts is not general, I can see that. So quite means the best thing that I have understood about you is that you have the clarity of thought. You can speak so smoothly about anything and everything. So that's really nice to talk to you also. I have also learned a lot of things from you. I hope the aspirants must have also learned a lot of from you. So thank you so much. And for the aspirants, if you are working aspirant, if you are not from the commerce background, she is the live example in front of all of you. So thank you very much, Ms. Srinidhi. Really nice to talk to you.